The Dark Knight, the Caped Crusader, the world's greatest detective, all nicknames for the one and only Batman. Every year on the third Saturday in September, Batman Day is celebrated in comic shops all over the world, and to commemorate this year's Bat festivities, we are taking a look back at the Gotham Guardian's history in Knoxville. To celebrate the 50th anniversary of the character, Batman was gifted with a $35 million budget for a Hollywood film. Starring Mr. Mom himself, Michael Keaton, Batman blasted onto the big screen in the summer of 1989. The dark tone of the film was a stark contrast to the last live-action incarnation of the character in the 60s, and some fans weren't ready for the switch.
This Batman was almost a bad guy, but it was fun.
I want more fun. It should have been funnier. It was sort of dark and, I don't know, you didn't know what was going on. The ending was too long.
That was great. I love the shield that went over the car.
Jack Nicholson. I think he was incredible, and a guy with his talent and his credibility doing a role like this, and he really put it on strong.
Character, maybe?
Batman!
Two for Batman, please.
When the sequel, Batman Returns, came out in 1992, it seemed the public had accepted the Dark Knight's new direction and were all aboard the Bat train. At the premiere at Easttown Mall, fans were met by the Penguin and Batman himself.
It'd shake the kids' hands. A lot of other people like it too. The adults, people come up and hug you. Everybody's crazy about Batman.
Especially theater managers.
I've been preparing mine for the last 2 months, telling them that Batman's going to be big, so we've been expecting a great crowd.
Batman is returning largely because the first film was so popular. The original movie in 1989 grossed more than $400 million worldwide.
This is the second time I've seen it in 2 days, so I really like it, and it's a really good movie.
It's a great movie. I enjoyed Michelle Pfeiffer tremendously.
Thought it was great. Didn't y'all like it?
Yes, we like it.
Unfortunately, the sequel made far less than the original, only grossing $266 million.
One for Batman.
In 1995, with the release of Batman Forever, the franchise underwent some big changes with a new director and a new Batman in Val Kilmer. The audience didn't seem to mind.
Better than I thought it would be. And the Batman, man, he's great.
The new supporting cast was a hit too. Well, most of them.
I like Tommy Lee Jones, and Jim Carrey was good.
Okay.
Robin was okay.
Fast forward the bat clock 2 years, and there was yet another recasting. In 1997's Batman and Robin, George Clooney donned the famous cowl. The kids seemed to enjoy the film.
I like Batman and Robin. And Mr. Freeze! That's who I liked it. Yeah. I liked it, everyone!
The critics, however, felt the opposite.
This is my least favorite Batman film, and it's really the fault of the script. As a result, the talented George Clooney is unmemorable as the superhero, and you just want everyone to head back to the Batcave and call it a day.
The 1997 film was the lowest grossing in the franchise at the time and would put Batman on ice for almost a decade. In the interim, we got 2004's spin-off Catwoman starring Halle Berry. We try not to talk about that one.
So, tell me about the rabbits.
The Caped Crusader was unfrozen in 2005 with the release of Batman Begins. Christian Bale would be the fifth man to take on the role of Batman on the big screen. The film was a moderate success with almost $375 million at the box office, but a tease at the end of the movie left fans clamoring for the sequel.
I've been a Batman fan since I was a little kid.
I expect a lot from this.
We're seeing over 1,500 showtimes sold out in 400 cities across the country.
Hype was at an all-time high for 2008's The Dark Knight. The film promised a new take on the iconic villain, the Joker, played by Heath Ledger. His untimely passing in the months leading up to the film left Hollywood shaken, but his performance proved to be one of the best in comic book movie history.
This surpassed the first one by a long shot. Oh my God, my knees are shaking right now. Heath Ledger needs to win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
Ledger did go on to posthumously win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, and The Dark Knight went on to become the highest-grossing Batman film of all time.
Christopher Nolan is a great director. Christian Bale is awesome as Batman, and the action is just awesome.
It would be 4 long years until The Dark Knight Rises, the third and final movie in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy hit theaters. Surpassing the previous film in both quality and box office may have been a Herculean task, but fans were ready for the final chapter in the saga of Christian Bale's Batman.
First two I came at the midnight premiere, so I had to come to this one too.
Try not to hear anything. I don't want it to spoil it. So.
fans lined up over 12 hours before the midnight showing to make sure they got a spot in line.
We've been out here since 11:30 and we played spades and just napped.
Moviegoers fill theaters all over the nation to get their first glimpse of Rises, but on the film's opening night, tragedy.
Just after midnight, when the dark night quickly moved from fiction to reality.
A shooting at a theater in Aurora, Colorado left 12 dead and 70 injured. Former Knoxville resident Lucas Smith was shot in the hip, but managed to keep his wife Heather safe.
They were about 15 rows back in the center of the theater, and so he stood up along with Heather standing with them. And then that's when the gunman shot directly up towards the middle aisles, which is exactly where they were sitting.
And then he went down and covered Heather over, just like every mom wants their daughter to be protected, and that's what he was doing.
We talked about what happened in Colorado and then kind of second-guessed myself about going, but I mean, I wasn't going to let it stop me.
Here at home, the overall sentiment from fans was defiance by refusing to let a random act of violence paralyze them with fear.
It's sad to hear what happened there, but if you get, if you're scared of that happening, you're not going to go out and do anything.
I just hope it doesn't prevent anybody from going to the movie now.
The Dark Knight Rises ended its theatrical run that December and grossed over $1 billion. After Christian Bale removed the famous cowl for the final time, Ben Affleck was selected for the role of the Caped Crusader in the upcoming Batman vs. Superman movie. People were a bit puzzled by the decision. Some preferred Affleck stick to his romantic roots, while others welcomed him to don the tights.
I like Ben Affleck in romantic things, or a romantic movie, or comedy, or some action movie, but not for Batman. I prefer Christian Bale. He's more masculine.
I think he is wonderful. I think he's sexy. I think he could play that role as Batman and would love to see him in that outfit.
Wow. Those that favored the comic and movie lore had other reasons to doubt the Bat flick.
They think Superman can't carry his own sequel, that they have to throw Batman in there. He can bench press the weight of the earth for 2 weeks straight and then think he's not strong enough to carry his own sequel? That's my gripe.
Ben Affleck would go on to play the role of Batman for nearly a decade, making the most appearances as the character in theatrical releases. Throughout the years, the Scruffy city has seen its fair share of Batmen, especially in the eyes of Joshua Collins, who believed KPD officers were, in fact, the Gotham Guardian.
Hey, Batman! I want to get that plane.
We were at Pilot on Merchants, and it was Easter, and there was the newer, undercover, unmarked, black Chargers. And we go inside, and he sees the officer, and he nudges at his leg, and the officer gets down, and he asks him if he's going to get the bad guys, and he's whispering this. And the officer says, "Yeah, I'm going to get him." And he says, "You're Batman."
Hello there, citizen. It is I, the Dark Knight himself.
One West Knoxville neighborhood was kept safe with Webb Sowell patrolling the streets.
People need me sometimes when they say, when someone says, "Hey, Webb, can you see my life?" And I say, "You can do this by yourself. You don't need me anymore to save the world."
Webb, who has Fragile X syndrome, has been Batman ever since he was a kid. When his childhood friend Dudley was getting married, she made sure Webb was a part of her big day. Dudley came outside to see Webb, and that's when a very special moment was captured.
As we were on the front steps, I realized that I had a cape on too, because he has his Batman cape and his signature stance, and so I realized that my veil was a cape, and I just held it up, and we took just one picture together that really means a lot to both of us and our families.
Dudley's father posted the image on Facebook, but what the photo meant to him was far more than the amount of clicks it got.
I'm usually not a person that looks at Facebook or posts anything, but that was such a special day for my daughter. I guess that what really got me is I realized that both my children probably gained more from knowing Webb than he gained from knowing them.
It's me. Just plain old Webb. That's just me.
This is my third time coming to Fanboy.
Earlier this year, the Batfans came out in droves to the annual Fanboy Expo in Knoxville.
It's the community, it's the people here. particularly the cosplays, because I love getting to see all the unique styles and things that people do with famous characters.
Cosplayer Knox Tabor embodied one of his favorite Bat Family characters, Red Hood, and chose his costume not only because it was one of the easier options, but because the characters resonate with him on a personal level.
Batman and all the characters connected to him are some of my favorite things to read in comic books. Partially because of the detective aspect of it, because he originated in Detective Comics. The Batman family between like Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, Barbara Gordon, and all the characters that encompass that, all the characters that are in the Batman family. Their interactions with each other and the city that they live in are intriguing to me.
While there were other contemporary Batmen at the expo, Dusty Lane came fully adorned in the classic look of the 1960s television version of Bruce Wayne's alter ego.
First experience with Batman was probably when I was about 4 years old, and my dad got me a copy of the 1966 movie starring Adam West, so I'm probably the last of a generation that can honestly say that Adam West was my first Batman, but I do enjoy all the other incarnations as well. But I've always been partial to the classic image of the Bat, you know. So this kind of evokes not only just Adam West 1966, but the Silver Age of comics, the Golden Age of comics, and you know, I've just got a lot of love for, you know, the older stuff.
The Batman character connects with fans through multiple generations and walks of life. For some, he's a hero. For others, an inspiration.
It's basically been my best friend, as crazy as that sounds, throughout my entire life. You know, I was kind of a shy kid. I was not really popular in school. I was really skinny, small. Batman was the friend that was waiting for me after school, and basically, you know, the one who's kind of instilled confidence in me to do things, you know, that I'd normally be afraid of doing.